Hello everyone, welcome to PyLearning. A lot of you might think that today I'm more excited than I ever am during my other videos. Well, there is a reason for it. Yesterday evening, while pondering over a question, I stumbled upon something really interesting. It was so much interesting that I got intrigued and I spent the entire night trying to understand and learn it. And finally, I cannot wait to share what I learned with you. Full disclosure, this video is not about Python at all. Today, we are going to learn about building a blog application. Let me ask you a question. Do you already have a blog site of your own? Do you want to build a blog of your own? If you have a blog of your own, make sure to put your website URL down in the comment section below. I would love to read it, I would love to learn from it, and more importantly, I would love to be inspired from it. We need to help each other, spread the information around. A lot of the people I know, including me, took a really long time to build their own blog. Why? Because they were stuck with a dilemma. What was the dilemma? Option 1, learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then build a blog website from scratch. Moreover, these days, people read everything or even watch videos more on the mobile. So, you need to learn mobile responsiveness as well. Now, truth be told, you may not be using these skills in your future profession or your career. So, is it worth your time? That's a question you need to ask. Or what you can do is, for minimal efforts, you can go over to a website like WordPress or Wix.com, create an account, and basically have a really amazing website with little to, no effort. But of course, there is another caveat. Chin chin. Well, what I mean is, it's gonna cost you money. I don't know, 5 euros, 8 euros per month. So, isn't there a road in the middle? Well, today I'm here to tell you that there is a road in the middle. You don't have to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or you don't have to pay for anything. You can actually build a really simple, beautiful, mobile responsive, yet very fast blogging website by just changing certain parameters. Can you believe it? Yes. Today, we are going to learn about building a blogging website using Hugo and Github. So, if you don't have a Github account, make sure to go ahead to github.com and create an account. Today's video is awesomeness on steroids.
Now, this is a huge tutorial. So I have divided this tutorial into multiple sections. Every section has its own start time. You can find the starting time of every section in the description below. So you can easily complete this tutorial at your own pace. Let's get started. So let's get started. Go ahead to gohugo.io. Hugo is an open source static site generator. It has been built in the Go language. You can check out the website for more information. Let's go ahead and click on Docs. First, we are going to read the documentation about quick starting a basic Hugo site. Let's do that. I'm a huge believer of learning a new thing by reading the documentation. I think it's an important practice that will really help you in your career. Make sure you develop it as well. So now, let's click on Getting Started and then Quick Start. We are going to follow the documentation here to quick start a simple site. First things first, installing Hugo. Now, if you have a Mac, you can use brew to install Hugo. Just do brew install Hugo. If you have some other system, don't worry. You can still download the binary releases for any appropriate platform version that you have. I'm going to leave this link in the description below so that you can easily access it. Alright, now I've already installed Hugo through Homebrew. You can check the version by running Hugo version. And it says Hugo static site generator version 0.55. Now let's go ahead and create a site. For that, we have to run, let's go back to the documentation. For that, we have to run Hugo new site quick start. Now, if you do quick start, you will have a folder called quick start. I don't like that name. I'm going to call it PyLearning blogs. So let's go ahead and do Hugo new site PyLenin blogs. And congratulations, your new Hugo site is created. And now you can see, if I open the folder in PyCharm, let's go ahead and do that. There it is. You can see the different folders that are present in PyLenin blocks. Archetypes, content, data, layout, static, themes, config.toml. Let's go ahead and understand more details about the structure of this folder. So, these structures are created by default with Hugo. Let's go over them one by one. I'm going to provide you a brief introduction about every folder. Don't worry if you don't understand everything about this, since you don't know much about Hugo. You will learn more about this throughout the session. So, let's talk about archetypes. Truth be told, unless you want to go super advanced with Hugo, you are not going to use it that much. In fact, I'm not going to use it for my final website as well, but it's good to know about it. Archetypes are templates that are used for creating new content. Let's look inside the folder. You can see a default.md file. Now by default, when you create a new content file in Hugo, the content will have three metadata: date, title, and draft version. But if you want, you can also add a new metadata to your file through these archetypes. We'll learn more about this while we are building our website. Let's talk about content now. Now, this is the folder we are going to use a lot. So, all our contents are going here in this folder. Our blog posts, our pages or sections, whatever, pretty much everything. Hence, it is very important that we understand this folder. Let me give you a demonstration of how it can look. For example, imagine this. On your navigation bar, you have home page and a blog page. And within the blog page, you have multiple blogs, right? So basically what you are going to have, the structure that you are going to have in the content folder is something like this. So you will have a directory called as blog, and inside the blog, you will have blogs called as 1.md, 2.md, something like that, So basically what will happen is when you click on a blog, let's say blog name is 1. So the URL is going to be base URL /blog/1, something like that. For the home page, since the home page does not have any section, you don't have to create a directory for the home page directly. All you can do is directly create home.md file and it is going to work. We are going to learn more about creating content in the upcoming part of the video. Now, next is the data folder. This is also something we are not going to use a lot. Think of it like it's the database for your Hugo site. So for example, you can put in a JSON file and directly read the content into your website. Make it more dynamic, But we are only building a static site for blogging. We are not going to need it. Next is the layouts folder. This is where all the auto-generated HTML goes. So for example, you want to have the same header and same footer on all pages of the website. Again, we are not going to use it. We'll be using the default styling that comes with a theme. But if you want to make changes to your HTML, improvise stuff, this is the folder that you might want to look at and work on. Next is a very important folder, is called the static folder. This is where all the static files like CSS, JavaScript, and images go. This is a folder we are going to use especially for images. For example, if you want to put some images in our application, this is the folder where we are going to put everything. Next is the themes folder. So the theme on top of which we are going to build our website will go in this folder. This is actually the next step that I'm going to show you. All we need to do is pop in a theme GitHub repo in this folder and we have a sexy website running. Finally, we have the config.toml file. This, in my opinion, is the most important file in this directory. Remember in the introduction, I said that we can have a stunning website running by just changing some configuration settings. This was the file I was talking about. Majority of our work is going to be focused here. Alright, too much theory. Let's actually start building. Let's go ahead and install a theme. Themes are a great way to reuse already built designs in Hugo and build a nice website. Let's click on themes, and then you can see really amazing designs here. All you have to do is pick and choose the one you think is good for your website. I really like a theme called as Coder. Yeah, this one. This is really clean. Let's look at the demo here. And here you can see pretty simple, pretty clean. It's completely mobile responsive as well. Here you can see. And you can see by default, there are 4 sections: about, blog, projects, and contact info. I think it is pretty good for my requirement. I'm going to go with this theme. Let's add it to our directory. Click on download and you should be redirected to a GitHub repository. We can find all the instructions to download this theme here. So the first step is adding the repository into our Hugo project as a submodule. Now I just want to draw your attention to this step. Every theme has a very similar usage. However, sometimes the commands are different. If you are new to this Hugo framework, all you need to do is find the documentation properly and read it. Every theme will have its quick start session and you just have to follow it. So don't worry, you'll be fine. If you have any issues, make sure to put them down in the comments. I will come back to them for sure. So let's execute this command and go to our command line. So let me copy this first. Now, before we do anything, execute this command. Okay, if I do this, it's going to fail. So it says fatal, not a Git repository. So what we need to do is install Git in this folder. So I can do Git init and then initialized empty Git repository. And now I can run this command. And here you can see, before I run this, let's look at this command. So basically it is adding this repository here, Hugo coder.git, to this themes folder. So basically inside our themes folder, it is going to create another folder called Hugo coder, and it is going to put all the files into that. Okay, let's go ahead and run this, and it's cloning now. Awesome. Let us now look at the themes folder. In a lot of ways, you will find that every theme structure is kind of a mirror image of your external directory structure. You know, basically when you use a theme, every configuration within the theme folder is default. If you want to override those settings, you have to add the same file name to the same folder in your root directory. Let's look at this folder a little bit better. So here you can see we have archetypes. We have archetypes in our external folder, and then we have layouts. We have layouts here. We have static. Static is also here, and then there is something interesting called as example web site. You know, if you extend this, you can see the folders content, layout, static, and config.toml here. So basically these are the default configuration. Hugo automatically looks at these theme folders and creates a configuration and basically builds the website. You know, when we run our server, you will see it in a much more better detail. Basically, when you use a theme, every configuration within the theme folder is default. If you want to override those settings, you have to add the same file name to the same folder in your root directory. Don't worry, we are going to play with this in our upcoming session of this video. The next step, according to the documentation that we are referring to, is configuring our config.toml file. So let's go ahead and do that. If we follow the instructions on the GitHub repo, we can see there is a link to a basic configuration. Let's click on it and we can see that there is an example of a config file with some recommended values. Now, let me show you another thing. Let's go to our theme folder in our Hugo directory. This is the theme folder, by the way. There also we have a config.toml. Open the example site, and here you can see there is a config.toml as well. Now, if we compare this with the config file in the GitHub repo, you will find that it is exactly the same. So it's your choice. Either use from GitHub or use from this file. I am going to copy this file from here. So let's copy this and add it to our config.toml file in our root directory. So copied it and then go ahead to the config.toml and then copy paste this. Remember in the introduction I mentioned we can build a stunning website by just changing some configuration. This is what I was talking about. But first, let's not change anything and just start the server with this configuration. Okay, of course, our base URL is not going to be example.com, title is not going to be johndoe.com. I just want to show you how it looks as it is. Right? To start the server, go ahead to the terminal and then run Hugo server dash capital D. Remember this, for running the server you have to run this command. Now if you run this, you can see that Hugo is hosting our server at this URL. So localhost 1313 port. So let's go ahead here. And there you go. This is the home page of the theme that we chose. I mean, it looks really clean and to the point, you know. If you click on any section here, it is going to show you a 404 error. That's because we still haven't built those pages yet. Don't worry, we'll do that shortly. But first, let's learn to edit the config.toml file here and add our own information. Let's go ahead, change the configuration of config.toml file and see what kind of impact does it have on our website. First, we need to start our server again. For that, run Hugo server dash capital D. All right, our server is up and running. If we load it, this is the home page. It is based on the theme that we used. And now let's go ahead and change our settings here. All right. Now for base URL, let's go from the top. Base URL, since we are in the development server, we are not hosting it right now. We don't need to change anything here. When we actually move on to hosting it on GitHub, then we have to supply the GitHub hosting URL, which is username.github.io. But for now, it's okay. Let us leave it like that. You can see title is set to John Doe. However, we need to change it to our own titles. I'm going to call it PyLenin. Let's go ahead and change this. And then you can see it automatically changes here on the UI. So basically it enables live update. So this is a great benefit of using Hugo. You can easily change the settings and see how your homepage is changing or how your website is changing. All right, let's go through the other parameters mentioned here. Now every config.toml file should have a parameter called as theme, which is set to the theme that you are using. We don't have to change this. Language code is English. We don't need to change it. Paginate equal to 20, canonify URLs equal to true. We don't need to change any of this, you know. Don't worry, like I mentioned before, this tutorial is about building the most minimal blog with the least hard work that we can do. All right, so we don't have to worry about much of these parameters unless you want to get into Hugo really well, understand HTML, CSS, JavaScript, make your own changes. You don't really have to worry about a lot of the parameters. So now let's go again through the parameters. We have discussed short name here. This is basically for allowing people to comment on your blog posts. However, we don't want that, or at least I don't want that. So I'm going to comment it out. So I don't need discuss short name. Let's go to these parameters now. Author is John Doe. Let's replace it with our own names. Lenin Mishra. We should see, okay, so you can see the author name has also changed here. Description, don't see a description on the website, but it won't harm to change it here. Let's just change it. Everything about Python. Keywords, blog, developer, personal, all of this is fine. Let me change the keywords here. You may want to change it, you may not want to change it, it's fine. I'm gonna put data engineering as well, business intelligence, just just to tell people what kind of blogs they can expect here. Info, so full stack DevOps and magician, this is what is showed here. So let's go ahead and change this. I'm gonna call passionate programmer, terrible liar. Let's make it a little funny. Okay, so passionate programmer, terrible liar, we now have it. Let's now understand this avatar URL. I think avatar URL is referring for the photo that is going to go here, this head that is showing here, and it is basically looking for a folder called images, and then inside it is looking for an image called as avatar.jpg. All right, now where should we put our images? Like I mentioned to you earlier, it should be in the static folder here that you should put all your images, right? Also, if you want some, experience, or you want to learn how it has been done here, you can always look at the example site. And here you can see in the static, there is an images, and it's not referring to that, but similar, we have to do it in a similar fashion. So here, let's go ahead and call it static. Let's create a folder and then call it img. I'm going to call it img. We can change it here, and then inside it I'm going to put a file. I think let's search for an image. So I should have something. Okay, this one, and then here go ahead and paste this and call it avatar.jpg. Okay, and now let's go ahead and see how it works. Close the desktop. All right, and now let's reload it. Let's start again. Our server, sometimes you have to restart your server, because sometimes it may not render the image properly. Oh, okay, I forgot to change it here. It's called img. And now let's go ahead and reload this. Oh, there you see. So now we have an image here that that is showing my photo. So yeah, this is how you can actually change this parameters in order to make the changes that you would like in your website. Footer content, enter a text here. Okay, this is where it is showing up. Let's be a little more funny. I can say PS, I have an accent, and then it should come up here. Okay, so here you can see PS, I have an accent. Date format is fine. Hide credits equal to false. So this is basically showing powered by Hugo and Coder. So yeah, I want to hide my credits. I don't want to show it on my website. Hide credits and hide copyrights. Let's go ahead and load this again. Okay, we have a bracket here. I don't know why, but here probably it's because of this. Git commit in footer, uncomment the line below to enable it. So let's comment it out, and there you go. So we have a very clean footer. We have a very clean home page, I would say. This to me is really nice. I think this really works for me as a home page. I would love to have a blog site that looks like this. Let's go ahead and see some other variables that we can change. So let's look at this social media parameters. So here you can see params.social. We have one GitHub. It has an icon, it has an URL. So let's change the URL to our own GitHub accounts. Then there is GitLab. Okay, I don't think I need GitLab, so I'm gonna delete it. But here you see weight equal to 1, weight equal to 2, weight equal to 3. It's basically the order in which it is going to show the social media profiles. So we need to change it since I'm removing one. Then there is Twitter, change the weight to 2. And then here I can say Pylenin. Pretty much all my social medias have a username as Pylenin. LinkedIn I have to check. I can check it now actually. Let's go to LinkedIn. Okay. Let's copy this whole thing here, and then let's put it. here. Okay, so we have LinkedIn now. Remember to change the weight. I don't think I need medium, but I do need Facebook. Um, Based on the icon, FAB, FA Twitter, FAB, FA LinkedIn, I think it is going to be FAB, FA Facebook. Let's try. And then here I can put in the Facebook URL, Facebook https www.facebook.com/pylenin. Let's close this. Oh, now you see we have a Facebook icon as well. And now if I go here, it should open up my Facebook page. By the way, if you haven't joined my Facebook page, make sure to join my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/pylenin. You can get updates about all my video tutorials, blogs here. Okay, so now we have 4 different social media icons. You can put as many as you want. Just remember, change the weights. Maybe nothing happens, but it's good to, keep everything coherently. Okay, then we have the languages parameters here. And then here you can see, basically this is important. So we have menu called as about. Here is the about. Then we have a menu called as blog. This is the blog. Then we have a menu called as projects. This is the projects. And then we have a menu called as contact me. Now all of these are fine. I think I don't need projects and contact me because I already have given my LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook information here. So I don't need contact me. I can remove this. I think it's fine. In projects, I'm not going to put projects, but I'm going to put YouTube. Let's see again. Okay, we have YouTube and the URL should point to https www.youtube.com/pylenin. Yeah, I think it's fine. Now, the blog, I think I want to call it blogs. And then instead of the URL is posts. See? So if I click on blog here, it is going to whatever base URL /posts. However, it doesn't seem right to me. I think I'm going to call it blogs, Okay. So I think now is the time to create a content. However, before we do that, let's look at the home page again. Let's look at the home page. This is the changes we have made. So basically pylenin, about, blog, YouTube. There is something called as Portuguese. So translations, I think, if I press it, so then all of these changes, it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, passionate programmer, terrible liar. These are my social media profiles. I have an accent. And then let's do one thing. Let's remove this Portuguese. So here you can see the translation Portuguese parameters. Let's go ahead and remove all of these. I don't need them. All right. So, okay. So I think I'm pretty satisfied with whatever there is. So the Portuguese thing is also gone. In the next session, we are going to look at how to build content. So we have a blogs. Okay, see, blogs is now showing up. Sometimes it takes time for the changes to occur, but don't worry, the changes will happen. All right. So now we have a blogs section and let's go ahead and build some blogs. Let's go ahead and add some content. By content, I mean the pages. So basically blogs and the about page, right? Let's go ahead, start our server first. Let's see how it looks. Hugo server -d. And then let's go ahead to the localhost thing. Okay, this is how our website looks. And then here you can see we have the about section where it gives us 404 page not found error. And then we have the blog section, which also gives us the 404 page not found error. Now, how do we add content? Like I mentioned to you before, every time you are in doubt, always check this example site folder inside your themes folder. So let's go ahead, extend our content folder. And here you can see there is a subfolder called as posts. And then there is a separate file called as about.md. So it makes sense, the about page does not have any sections. The blog page has a lot of blogs in it. So every blog is referring to another URL. So therefore the post folder here has a lot of blogs inside it and basically is referring to each of those blocks. But remember one thing, in the config.toml file, we change the post's URL here. Remember? So basically it was this URL was set to posts and we change it to blocks. So therefore this time, instead of creating a post folder, we are going to create a blocks folder. Now how to do that? If you go to Hugo Quick Start to add some content, they have a command for it. So basically Hugo new post slash your blog name. So let's go ahead and copy this and then paste it here. Well, close your server first, of course, and then paste it here and let's make the changes. So first of all, I don't want to call it my first post.md. I'm going to call it Python print. So blogs slash Python print dot md. So basically my blog name is blog is going to be about the print in Python, and I'm calling it python-print.md. So now when I click on the Python print blog, my URL is going to look like base URL slash blogs slash Python print. You see, such a SEO friendly way of building your URLs here. So go ahead and click it and it says has been successfully created. Let's go ahead to our content folder, which was empty earlier. Now we have a blogs folder in here, and then we have a python print.md. If you click on it, this is the metadata that actually ships with every kind of content. I already told this to you in the introduction section that every MD file that you create, content file, is going to have metadatas like title, date, and draft as default. You can add other metadata to it, it's your wish, but for now it's okay. We are not going to add anything. So let's just add something. Now, how do you write blogs in Hugo? Basically, Hugo follows the markdown format. So if you Google markdown cheat sheet, so basically you have to write your blog in a markdown format. So for example, if you want a header, so this is the format to write a header, you know. So let's say we do this, and here instead of h1 I can say Python print. Then, you know, like a basic blog, I can say print is very useful, and then I want to show a piece of code. You know, you see how it printed normally here, this is how it looks. And then when I want to show a code, I can use something like what is it called, back quotes, I don't know what it is called, double back quotes, and then I can say print Lenin. So now it shows up as a code. So basically the background is highlighted as gray. So basically this is how you're going to write your blog. So you can have headings, and then you can emphasize with asterisk basically. So here useful, if I do star star and then star star, it's going to become bold. So basically you can experiment with it. You can have lists and everything. So go ahead, experiment with it, and then build your blog the way you want. All right. All right. So now let's go ahead, start our server again. We have some kind of blog ready. Now let's go back to our localhost and then click on blogs. So here you see, now we have a blogs page, and here it says on June 2nd, 2019, a blog is written called as Python print. And when you click on it, it is going to basically show you print is very useful, print Lenin. So basically your entire blog, you can see it here. It's very useful, and it's very easy to build blogs right now, right? No more thinking about HTML, CSS and all that thing. And this is already user friendly and mobile responsive. That's the most important part. Now, let's go ahead and also build our about page, right? So since we needed a blogs folder earlier here, but now we don't need a blogs folder. For example, here also there is a post folder, but there is no about folder in here. So we can just go ahead and say Hugo new post dot about dot md. Click on it. So about.md has been created. Here you go. Here, let me just write it. I'm a nice person. I have an accent. Of course, you have to write the about page properly. But just to show you, Now here, let's go ahead and restart our blog again. Hugo server minus d dash d, sorry. Let's go back to the Pylon homepage, click on about, and there you go. You have an about page. If I click on YouTube, it is going to take me to my YouTube page, hopefully, by the way. Yeah, so there you go. This is my YouTube channel. By the way, if you haven't seen it, make sure to subscribe to it and check out all the videos. So there you go. This is how easily you can build contents. Go ahead, try and make different contents of your own. If you have any questions, make sure to put them down in the comment section below. Next, what we are going to do is the most important part. We are going to host this on GitHub. So let's start the preparation for hosting our blogging website on GitHub. Go ahead to documentation in gohugo.io and then click on hosting and deployment. Then here, go ahead and click on host on GitHub. Now we are going to follow this step-by-step instructions, but make sure you are completely with me because this part is very important. It took me a lot of trial and error process to get the entire process right. So make sure you are really concentrated. So the first step, create your project, example blog repository on GitHub. This repository will contain Hugo's content and other source files. Let's go ahead and do that. So new repository. I'm going to name it, let's say purple blue, just some random name, test for Hugo blog. All right. I always like to add an MIT license to it. Let's go ahead and create this repository. Okay. So first step done. Second step, create a username.github.io GitHub repository. This is the repository where we are going to host our blogging website, right? So let's go ahead and create another repository. Repository new, then Pylon. So your username, make sure you copy the exact username from here, pylon.github.io, and then let's go ahead and create the repository. All right, so first two steps done. Third step, git clone your project URL. So basically the URL of this repository and go inside your project. Let's go ahead and first do that. So here, let's go. This is the purple blue repo we created. Git clone this. Now we are in Lenin Mishra directory. Okay, so let's go ahead, git clone and the URL. Now I'm going to do something that you don't have to do. Basically, I'm maintaining or managing multiple GitHub accounts on my laptop. So I've changed the configuration so that basically by using such keywords, I can basically target the relevant GitHub accounts. You don't have to do this, all right? So let's go ahead and git clone this. Okay, and then we have to go inside this folder, right? Let's go inside the folder. Okay, now basically the idea here is go inside the folder and then make your website work locally. So inside this folder. So what we have to do is we built our testing blogging website in Pylon blogs, remember? So let's go ahead, Pylon blogs, open. Okay, so basically this is our testing website which we used. Now what we have to do is we have to copy the entire thing into this purple blue folder. So let's go ahead here, Pylon blogs, copy all the things, and then let's go ahead to purple blue. Where is, yeah, here it is, purple blue folder, and then paste everything. All right, let's now open purple blue in PyCharm so we can take a look. Lenin Mishra, and then let's go ahead, open purple blue. Actually, let's open the entire thing. Okay, right? So now here you can see, along with the license that we created in GitHub, along with that we have all the other folders that we had built. certain things to take care of now. First things first, make sure your base URL is correct. So basically we are going to host this on https pylenin.github.io. So basically username.github.io, the repository you just created. So make sure you get the base URL right. All right, it's very important. Then go ahead to your content, and remember, while building we had draft set here equal to true, so basically it was still a draft version, but now you have to set these to false. Remember that. So draft is false for all the content that you have created. So I have only two content, Python print and about. So you have to set the draft to false. So basically it is ready for you to read. All right, let's go ahead to the next step. So now let's do rm minus rf, this to completely remove the public directory, because we are going to create it from scratch. All right, so go ahead, do this rm minus rf public. By the way, we can also first test the whole thing whether it is running, because we copied the files. It's a good practice to just check that. All right, so this is exactly what I want. So let's close the server. After we close the server, let's do rm rf public as was suggested in the documentation. All right, now let's copy this command, the sixth command, and we have to execute it. So basically this is adding a submodule to the public directory for the pylenin.github.io, so paste this. Before we run it, we have to change the username here. So go ahead, change the username. Mine is pylenin, and then here pylenin again, and then because I have my own personal settings, so I'm changing it here, but you don't have to do it. For you, github.com should work. Well, unless you are maintaining multiple accounts and you know exactly why you are doing it, you should just keep using the URL. So let's go ahead, do this. Okay, it says unable to check out submodule public. Still, let's try again. All right, so it says adding existing repo at public to index. Cool. Let's go ahead to the next step. Basically now we have to run a deploy script. All right, so go ahead to your repository, purple blue, or the repo you created. Create a new file called as deploy.sh. okay, yeah, and then basically copy this entire thing to the deploy.sh file. All right, now what we have to do is we have to give executable permissions to our deploy.sh. So do chmod plus x deploy.sh. all right, and then actually this is also mentioned here. You can see you can also make it executable with chmod plus x deploy.sh. so don't worry, I didn't run any command from my own. And now we can run this deploy.sh, and this should ideally create our pylenin.github.io, or basically the repo we want, the blogging website. Now add a proper commit message here. Say hosting trial 1. Fingers crossed. I hope it works this time. All right, so now let's go ahead and check out our pylenin.github.io repo, github.io, and you see now the this repository is basically filled with HTML code. So basically this is the built HTML that Hugo built for us. And now let's give it some time. Sometimes what happens is, actually let's go ahead and check it. I can't wait. It takes some time for the GitHub to create that page, but let's be hopeful. All right, the page is already created. Here you can see pylenin. So I'm looking at https pylenin.github.io. If I go to about section, you can see I have an about section. If I go to blogs, you can see the blogs. I have a Python print. Amazing. So now I have a YouTube YouTube channel. Great. So basically we have successfully hosted our simple blogging website on github.io. I hope you learned a lot from this tutorial. If you have any questions or any doubts, make sure to put them down in the comment section below. Also, make sure to subscribe and share this video with your friends. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this session as much as I did. I'm going to rebuild pilenin.com completely with this new Hugo design. I think it will be more coherent and it will be more fast. It will load much faster. So this is definitely a winner for me. So let's see. I'll keep you posted on what I keep doing with this. In the meantime, go ahead, build your blogging website and make sure to put your blogging website down in the comment section below. I definitely want to see it. Thank you.